After 5 months of deliberations, the government today issued its response to the Cooper review into the future of Australia's superannuation system. The government claims its adoption of the bulk of the review's recommendations will significantly improve super savings by reducing fees. While key industry players initially voiced approval for the raft of reforms, it didn't take long for grievances in some sectors of the industry to surface. Business editor Greg Hoy reports.
In serene surrounds of Melbourne's Moonee Ponds Bowling Club, Assistant Federal Treasurer Bill Shorten bowled his bouncer at the superannuation industry, citing Shakespeare.
To provide or not to provide, or to not provide as well. This is the query which Australians ask every day of themselves, and the morning and the sunrise and the sunset of every day.
With help from Hamlet, the minister vowed to end inefficiencies in management of the $1.3 trillion retirement savings pool of Australia's 12 million employees and superannuants. Government will give the green light to most of the findings of a review led by former Deputy Chairman of ASIC, Jeremy Cooper, who's been openly critical of the superannuation industry. But at first today, it seemed that the old arch-rivals of the industry, both not-for-profit industry funds and for-profit retail funds, were singing harmoniously from the minister's song sheet.
How great was the need for reform here?
It was very big. When you consider that compulsory superannuation in Australia is less than 20 years old, and we're really giving it more than an overhaul, it's almost a new paint, new engine, quite a significant upgrade.
The need for reform here is substantial. The government has a duty of care to ensure that everybody that joins a workplace super fund is joining a fund that meets high standards and has high criteria.
The need for reform is big.
There was a great need for reform because at the moment within superannuation we see far too many people are in products that are high cost and have inbuilt things in them like advice that people don't even know they're in the fund, much less use those bells and whistles.
Our detailed response does essentially orbit around 3 key themes which make superannuation stronger. These are the themes of better governance, greater efficiencies and fairness.
And how? First, by compelling funds by July 2013 to provide for the 80% of Australians who show little or no interest in how their super is managed, a simple, low-cost default fund to be known as MySuper. Second, by improving administrative processing through data and technological improvements and mandating the use of tax file numbers to make it easier to roll over savings from one fund to another. Thirdly, by boosting the powers of regulators to improve supervision of funds and accountability of all trustees. So how do industry leaders rate the government's response?
It's 9 out of 10. It's a great set of reforms.
Our verdict is an 8 out of 10. And that's based on the premise that there's still a lot to be worked out. A lot of the response today by the government was, yep, we support it. We'll consult further on how to implement. And as we know, the devil can be in the detail and the pain can be in the detail.
Out of 10, I'd say I'd give it about a 9 out of 10.
Well, if I had to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably sit between 7 and 8 out of 10. We support about 80% of the recommendations.
One of the major sticking points is the decree that all funds must deliver the no-frills MySuper option.
We've not supported MySuper. I still believe very strongly that requiring a licence for a default product called MySuper that is ultimately a low-cost, cheap and cheerful superannuation product is duplicating what's available in the market. Whether it's Australian Super, whether it's BT, whether it's AMP, whether it's CBUS, they all have low-cost superannuation products without commission in them. They already exist now.
What the government's done is the government said is when someone joins their workplace super fund, by default, that is they don't choose their own super fund, they shouldn't be paying commissions. They shouldn't be paying high fees. What this means is, according to the government's estimates, but they're estimates that we agree with, a worker over their working life could retire with $40,000 more.
But at the end of the day, everyone's a winner, we were told, though some more than others.
the ones that are going to start thinking about, well, how am I going to cope with this, are the ones who really have not developed their systems. So, but the majority of the industry, the majority of employees, the employers, are the winners.
Well, I definitely think that average workers are the winners out of this package. They've got a lot more protection with their superannuation, so they're the winners. But fees are going to come down, and so those people out there charging high fees are definitely going to be the losers.
Business editor Greg Hoy.